So, Ghost of Tsushima came out in the year of 2020. It is now 2025, meaning there's been 5 years between these two games. So, hopefully, the formula has been improved and innovated on with Ghost of Yotei. And here's a list of a few things that I want to see from the next game. Um, you know, they're not really based off anything. I just really think that these additions would be cool to have in the game and might add for some interesting gameplay elements. But without further ado, let's get right into number one. Now, my number one is not really the thing that I want the most, but I think it'd be cool. But weapon sharpening, of course, we're running around with a sword, so I think it'd be really tactical to pay attention to how sharp your blade is, kind of like the same way it is in Lies of P. I feel like that adds a dynamic element to some boss fights, and it would give you another thing to be conscious of when you're playing the game. One of my favorite games, as some of you may know if you've been on this channel, is Death Stranding. And one of the reasons I like that game so much is it's constantly giving you multiple things to worry about as you're traversing the world and engaging with its elements. So that is why I put weapon sharpening as one of my number one features that I want to see in the next game. Moving on to number two, I would like to see traps. In the first game, Jin Sakai is obviously a samurai, and he's struggling with his morality of, being a noble warrior but saving his country at the same time. So I think traps would not have been a good call for him. That would have definitely sent him into the bad side of his morality. But this new character, I think, does not have to struggle with that same conflict inside themselves. So I think traps would be really cool to set up for certain enemies to, die from. And so my next thing is going to be a reimagined skill tree. Like I said, this game came out 5 years ago, so I would love to see some brand new skills. I know that's a given with sequels, but if we take a look at past Sony sequels like God of War and Spider-Man, they really lack innovation. I find that Sony typically plays it safe for some reason when it comes to sequels, and it has you pretty much re-unlock the same skills that you unlocked in the first game, which is really confusing because it's like, did Kratos just forget how to like parry or do this certain move? Why does he have to learn it again? Same thing with Spider-Man. Like, why is he back to base web shooting speed? Shouldn't he have innovated on his web shooters and made them faster by now? Why do I have to unlock this again? I really don't want to spend a lot of time or skill points, relearning how to parry and relearning how to perfect dodge. That's so boring. I feel like the thing that made Ghost of Tsushima really stand out is because all the skills that you unlocked is they give you the ability, but it's mostly like a skill thing at the end of the day, if that makes sense. Either way, I just want to see some different skills. Is that too much to ask for? It's been 5 years. You guys could come up with something. Don't make me relearn how to do a perfect dodge. I'm so serious. Anyways, the next thing I would like to see is a wanted system or a morality system like Infamous, since the characters is wanted. I think based on the trailer, I'm kind of blanking. I haven't really looked too much at it because I like to keep things a surprise, but I think she's a wanted Ronin. So she's wanted, and I think one of the best things about games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Infamous is the fact that you get to choose the type of person that you are in this world, and that leads to some interesting choices that you have to make along the story and some interesting consequences for your actions. So, that would obviously be a great addition. They're known for it. It's in their DNA with their past games, so it wouldn't be so far off the wall to, incorporate this in the next game. So I really think that would be great. And another thing I would love to see is more dismemberment. In the first game, it was pretty light. You don't really unlock real dismemberment until a certain point in the game, which is kind of disappointing because there's a heavy chunk of the game where it's just like, I'm literally using a samurai sword. Why am I not chopping their legs off? Why am I not cutting their head off? I know it sounds like a freak thing to ask for, like a freaky ass thing to ask for. But I don't know. I feel like it just kind of pulls me out of the game. Like it doesn't look as realistic and as immersive as it should. And that's really disappointing because in all other aspects, Ghost of Tsushima is a really immersive game. And the fact that you're this super strong warrior that is, pretty much um, being a what is it? They say you fight like a demon in the game, but you don't even like you just poke people with your sword. Like that's I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. So I know AC Shadows is doing it. If you looked at anything from there, I seen like maybe 3 seconds of a trailer from that game, but I see that they're adding very violent dismemberment. Obviously, it'd be great to have the option to turn it off for people who don't want to see that. But for me, games like God of War and Ghost of Tsushima, I really feel like they benefit from that type of stuff because it just adds to the power of the character that you're controlling. So, yeah, I would love to see that in the game. Another thing, I know I'm gonna wrap this up, but another thing is factions. Be cool to pretty much be in the middle of factions that have certain ideologies, and one faction doesn't like the other and the other doesn't like this one and all that stuff. It'd be really cool to get in the mix of that and just cause some drama. Also be cool to get some like perks, some armor to show your loyalty to one faction, and it'll generate some discourse in the community, like, hey, I'm this faction and we don't like your faction, blah blah blah. I think that'd be cool. I really think that's unlikely, but could be fun. And then my last thing is some DualSense 5 features. You guys know I am a big fan of those, especially the ones for the speaker. The first game didn't really have as much as I'd like, but I would love to hear the swords clanking together when you parry, maybe when you stab somebody. You hear like the stab or the grappling hook or the whistle when you call your horse, or maybe like the smoke when throw a smoke bomb at your feet. I feel like those would be great. I really like the bow and arrow adaptive triggers in the first game. I feel like it's some of the best to do it. It feels really nice to me. And just in general, they use the touchpad really good with the wind calling effect, and being able to clean your blade and stuff like that. So just more innovations on that would be very much appreciated with this 5-year life cycle of this game. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Let me know if you guys have any things that you want to see in the next game in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.